Thank you for joining us today at Nebraska Lacrosse Connection, where our purpose is to help grow the sport of lacrosse in Nebraska and just give some exposure about the programs. There's still people saying, I didn't know lacrosse was in Nebraska. So thank you, Masey and Alex, for coming here today to help us grow the game.
Thanks for having us. I mean, we love talking about our programs all the time, so I'll just kind of give you guys a bit of a spiel about us. But obviously, my name's Masey J. I'm the head coach here. I'm originally from Vegas. Moved out here to actually play lacrosse at Midland, and I got my bachelor's degree and master's degree from here. I've been around the game for about 16 years as a both player and a coach, so very passionate about this game and would really like to see it grow a lot more out here. It's slowly starting to, but see if we can not pick that up a little bit. But a little bit about us. In the past, we've had a lot of turnover when it comes to like coaches, and for me, I'd like to put an end to that. I would like to have more stability in the women's lacrosse program. In general, I think there's some changes happening across the country when it comes to lacrosse, and especially on the women's side. Um, so, you know, with that, like I put in a team culture for us that's, called Fight. And that stems a lot from me as a player and like my outlook when I was playing, but also from coaches I've had in the past, anything like that. But it stands for focus, intensity, grit, honor, and together. And so for me, that's on and off the field. That's in academics, that's in your sport, that's in your job, whatever it may be. Like it's kind of those life core values, I think, that are important. But yeah, so that's kind of about that. We're an NAI institution. We're in the Heart of America conference. So with that, we, offer scholarships to players, which is really nice because there's some places that don't have scholarships quite yet. There's some D3s or different clubs and stuff like that. And what we are as a team, it's also like very family oriented. And so with that, I'd love to get more Nebraska girls out here. I currently only have one on the roster. The rest are from out of state. And so I'd love to get more Nebraska locals on the team. Like, I think skills aren't necessarily the most important part. Obviously, they're kind of important, but more so like I can develop anybody who's willing to. So I know Nebraska being a little bit smaller in that growth process, it's not the same as, East or West Coast, but I think there's a lot of good talent out here that's raw and it can be developed a lot more. So for us, that's a really important thing. Plus, Nebraska home. Get them come here. They could stay close to home, maybe use the mom and dad's washer and dryer. Me as a coach and like with our program, like I said, academics are really important as well as lacrosse. And for me, obviously lacrosse is going to be the top priority, but for students, it's mostly going to be academics and then lacrosse, which is valid. So with that, like as a coach, I make sure that all of my girls are successful in the classroom, and that is, monthly academic check-ins with them, making sure if they're falling behind in a class, we're proactive in getting them to tutoring sessions if they need to. Or we have a lot of support on campus for our student athletes when it comes to academics, where we've got the library that has the ARC, which is, there's a writing center, a math lab, different stuff like that, where if they're struggling to write a paper, they can set up an appointment with a student or some other worker, which could be a faculty member in the library, who will walk through the rubric with them and help them get an outline set up, whatever. If it's a math class, like a statistics class, they can kind of go in or go to SI and get extra help on that. For our student athletes, it's very difficult to be a student athlete, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. So on campus, we've got, a lot of physical and mental health support. So physical, we've got athletic trainers for each of the programs. We've got a doctor who comes on site who does like physicals and different stuff. We also have an orthopedic doctor that comes on site. We've got a chiropractor. So we've got lots of different options there. But then when it comes to mental health, we've got a lot of support on that side, where I believe it's called You Will now. It's like a telehealth type of thing where students can go in and select a specific counselor that they talk to and can have a conversation through the phone, whether it's text message, whatever, so they can still have that support, and it's, confidential, where if they're going through something with their family, they can talk about that. If they had an injury, they can talk about that, different stuff. So as a university, we've got a lot of support there. But if anybody's interested at all, I mean, I'm putting on a prospect day on October 5th, which is a full visit to campus, which would award each of those players the $2,000 visit grant to Midland. So down the line, they did commit, that'd be an extra $2,000 kind of divvied up over their semesters. Then we'll do a coaches and player panel, and then we'll have a whole practice where they can participate and everything like that. So yeah, we're the only college in Nebraska that offers scholarships for lacrosse. We're actually the only collegiate level besides UNL's club team and Creighton's club team. But the $2,000 visit grant is kind of to entice more individuals to actually come and see campus. Is, I mean, for us as a coach or me, I think it's really good for student athletes to see campus and have it feel like that home away from home, whether they're from Nebraska or if they're from out of state. But it's also just kind of an additional thing that's offered to the students, I think. I'm not entirely sure like the breakdown of it or the reasons why. With that, it just helps student athletes, and it's that extra like, oh sweet, like I can go see campus and I might get something out of it, if I was to commit or anything like that. But when it comes to scholarships, we don't do like stack scholarships, but as coaches, we take into account academics. So whatever their GPA, if they have ACTs, different stuff like that, just because we're that nonprofit university. So we have a lot of state funding or federal funding for us. So that kind of comes in at that academic starting point of a scholarship. And then as coaches, we'll be like, okay, we like that, but we want to give you this much more. In the past, we haven't been as prevalent with our recruiting in Omaha, which I'm hoping to turn that around and make sure, like I've gone to the last couple of Sundays in Omaha to watch the fall ball games and stuff like that. And I'll continue going to those. So I think being more proactive from us to get more of that Nebraska locals in is going to be good. But I think in the past, it just hasn't been as used, or like we haven't used the pool enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? My name is Alex Myhre. I'm the head men's lacrosse coach and also the director of lacrosse here. So I am going to be helping Coach Jay, try to get into those Nebraska areas for women's lacrosse as well. I've done a fairly good job myself of recruiting in the state for men's. And just a little background about myself. So I grew up in Indiana the first bit of my life, moved here pretty close to high school and actually played at Millard West. So I see Cam Patrick's on, played with him. Actually, him and I won a state championship together 2007. So good to see him on the call. I know he's heavy into refereeing in the state, so that's great to see. I know we got a pretty significant ref shortage around here, so hopefully we can keep building that up. But I played around the state for close to 20 years now. Played my whole high school, played at Nebraska. Went to UNL for college, played club ball there. And this, like, Midland wasn't around back when I was trying to get recruited back then, and so I did want to stay in state. That was kind of a goal of mine, my parents, and so it was something that was right for me. And I think now having this job, being having the privilege of coaching in my home state, it's truly a dream come true for me, honestly. And so I'm putting all my passion, all my energy, everything I have into this program, right? And so, just in terms of our background as a program, so this will be our 6th year. So we're still a very young program. I know the women's program has been around longer, but on the men's side, we're a young program. And our first season was the COVID year, 2019. So, as you can imagine, it's a fairly tough way to start a program off. That year was basically canceled after one game. The next year was a shortened season. And the first 3 years here, there were 2 coaching changes. So I'm the 3rd head coach here at Midland. So, it's been a rocky go to start, to say the least, for us, right? But myself, I do have a really solid coaching staff who I'll just kind of name off quick. We have Coach Alec Ray. He's our defensive coordinator. Amazing experience, got Division II and Division I experience at the college level. So I'm having him as our defensive coach. He's a great friend of mine, and known him for about 8 years now. So he was one of the first people I called when I got the job. Coach Nick Ludke, this will be his first year. He's actually a Midland alum. He was a second-team all-conference midfielder. He's going to be our offensive coordinator this year. Super happy to have him. Just had a 2-hour meeting with him last night just about the offense and, how we can mix things up a little bit. And so it's going to be great to have him. And then we do have Coach Ryan Grucock as well as our goalie coach. Another guy I've played with. He's actually the only guy out of the coaching staff I've played with my whole career. We came into the game together, 14 years old, made each other better. So he was another one that, he's got 20 years of goalie experience. And he's, one of those guys I called right away. So, now I just preface it with the coaching changes because, now it finally feels like we have that solid, stable coaching staff that we can actually start to build and grow. The first couple of years of my tenure here were, a little bit rough, a little rocky, right? A lot low numbers, came in with, I think, 17 guys on the roster, trying to kind of rebuild that year. Really, last year was a little bit about rebuilding too, a lot of injuries, things like that. But this year, we got a couple of great recruiting classes that have come in the last couple of years. A lot of Nebraska guys, like I said, my goal every year is to really build that core group of guys from Nebraska, right? A lot of them are under recruited. A lot of them are, really wanting to play at the next level, but maybe haven't gotten the looks that some of these other guys have. And, myself playing in the state, my entire career, basically, I've seen it, and I know that there are tons of talented players, and I want to give those guys an opportunity to showcase that. Right. So, that's really one of my goals and why I was, excited when you reached out to me, just about this opportunity, because I think, especially I know a lot of the coaches around, right? Like I have great connections with, several coaches around the state. I've known them all personally for a long time. Some of them I play box lacrosse with for the Omaha Rebels. I'll get into that later on. We'll talk about that as well. But yeah, just having those connections and really trying to build and foster those connections into something really special here, and having Midland become that kind of that destination spot, right? Because like I said, it's only been around 6 years, right? The opportunity is now there for guys that want to go play at the next level, stay close to home, and really, like I said, showcase the talent that they have, on a national level. It's been a great experience so far, right? And my goal, right, like I said, now we got some stability. We're growing our numbers. I'm starting to get more interest. We also have a prospect day, November 9th. If anybody wants to sign up for that, we got 10 guys signed up right now. I'm hoping to get to 20 or 30, right? And a lot of those are Nebraska guys, right? So even if you want to come showcase your talent, right, I encourage local guys to explore all their options, obviously, find what's best for you. I will say, like, having the small campus vibe, having a tight knit community like Midland, having, professors that really care about your education, and having coaches that care about you as a player, it's really something that I look back at my college time at Nebraska, and I'm like, I was sitting in classes with, 400 students in it in a lecture, right? I'm like, I never wanted to ask questions or, whatever it may be, but that's what's great about the community that we've built here. 15-to-1 faculty student ratio. I mean, everything lines up with, if you want that smaller campus vibe, you want to stay home in Nebraska, you want to be close to family, you want your family to come to all your home games, you want that support. Like, that's why I'm really focusing on building that core. That's not to say I'm not recruiting anywhere else, right? Like, we got guys from all over the US on our team right now. But I do think, having that, I take it from I always watch, what Matt Rule press conferences at Nebraska, he's always talking about how he's getting the corn-fed boys from, Western Nebraska that are going to come make these big blocks, right? Like, I have that same kind of philosophy about Nebraska lacrosse players. Like, I just think there's so much talent here that is untapped, and I'm just excited for the future. I'm excited for the program. We just switched conferences into the Heart of America, so we're in a 10-team conference now. And everything is kind of on the up and up right now. So yeah, we're really looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to continuing recruiting. I've already got a few offers out to guys from Nebraska as my first offers for the year. So I'm hopefully you guys will see those on Instagram in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, just exciting times. And I don't know if anybody does have any questions about the men's side right now, and then I can kind of get into the Omaha Rebels as well, kind of what we're doing over there.
What happens on your prospecting days? Like, what kind of a schedule events is it?
Yeah. So it's a full day, right? So for out of state guys, if they come in, we do have, I think three out of state guys signed up right now. So right, they'll probably either drive or fly in. We got discounted hotels, things like that. So they'll stay the night there. For local guys that can come up the morning of, there's a campus tour, starts, I believe, at 10:30. They'll do that for about an hour. We'll get some of the guys from the team that don't have class to come have lunch with those guys at the dining hall here, so they kind of get that full experience of what it would be like to be a freshman here. They'll do a little talk after admissions, things like that. And then we'll go over to Heatham Field, and we'll get into some drills, just basically kind of a team practice, but we're really going to use it to evaluate, right? Like our guys are going to be practicing with them, but we're also going to be using it to evaluate these prospects that are coming in, right? See if they're a good fit character wise, individually, if they're a team player, if they're doing the right things on the field, they're making the extra plays, right? It's all the effort based stuff that, like the intangible stuff that goes into the game. And that's really what, if you're a player watching this and you're trying to send film out to a coach or you're going to these prospect days, like, yes, if you're an offensive guy, say it, like, yes, the flashy shots are great, right? But it's really the extra stuff, like the rides, right? Like the ground balls, right? Like pressure plays, like off ball play. Like it's all those things combined that college coaches are wanting to see. And then, defensively, same thing, right? It's the ground balls, it's the hustle plays. It's, if your teammate's in a ground ball and you're hustling over to help get a 2-on-1, things like that, that the coaches really want to see, and same thing goes for goalies, right? And so I think just all those things are kind of encompassed into what we're going to be looking at in the prospect day. And this is actually, we had sort of a modified prospect day last year. We didn't get into kind of the more of the drills and things like that. And I really wanted to emphasize with admissions, with the admin on campus that, it's something that we really need. And for us, the prospect day is completely free, right? We just want, like, I personally don't believe in charging for that, right? I want guys, if they're going to be traveling here, right, if they're going to be coming to school here someday, right, if we end up offering them things like that after this prospect day, right, I want it to be a good experience for them. I don't see a point in charging $150 to come out. And, like, yes, it raises money for our team, but it's also, I want the guys to feel comfortable coming out here, showcasing their talents, right, and not having to worry about, writing a check to the school before they even attend, right? So that's a real advantage for us right now. And yeah, so at the end of the day, we'll do a little scrimmage, right? We'll split the teams up, we'll scrimmage, we'll kind of rotate through teams and, put some different pairings of guys together, see how they work with our guys that we have currently. And really, the coaches, all of us will kind of just be evaluating, right? Taking notes. We'll have little player sheets printed off. We just want to make sure we get evaluations, and we'll also, send these out to these guys after so that they can kind of see where they are in the process in terms of, are you ready for college game? Like the pace is way different than high school, right? I mean, especially, just even the shot clock, right? I mean, it's 80-second shot clock, and you don't have that in high school, right? You can hold, well, some states I think are trying to add it in, but it's kind of like the basketball shot clock, right? It's a whole mess. They keep changing the game of lacrosse, and it's good and bad, but the shot clock's a great thing, right? But it also means it speeds the pace up, right? So, we'll test guys on things like that, and just pace of the game, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, it should be a fun day. I'm really excited for it. And we're doing it kind of towards the end of fall. So it might be a little chilly, but I know one of the reasons I'm doing that is because I know a lot of local players do also play football, right? And I want to give them the opportunity to, either they may be at districts that week or something, but if they're not, then they can have the opportunity that they're wrapping up with football at that time, and possibly. So depending on how long the schedule goes, but probably do it later in the year, to give everybody the opportunity to come that's local. So
for Alex and Masey, I am with Elkhorn Athletic Association, so we do the youth side of lacrosse from 3rd to 8th grade and work with OLC, submit teams play within OLC. But I have just kind of observed Midland girls 5 football and their partnership with Millard United, actually, that youth organization. And it just, I think I've reached out in the past, but maybe not when you guys were there. But I would love to get some sort of partnership or want to know your thoughts on how to progress the youth game and have that collegiate kind of like show these kids their pathway to play. Even within Nebraska, that they have that opportunity, and to maybe do clinics and things like that. And then also just with the sanctioning efforts, curious to know if you guys are getting involved with that as well.
Yeah, I can kind of speak to that just because I've been around the area youth a lot. So I know, like, for instance, for the Rebels, we do a lot of stuff with OLC. I tried kind of reaching out last year to OLC just about because I really like to try to start getting more people to come out and watch our games, right? I know it's a bit of a jaunt to Fremont. It's not, it's probably 20, 30 minutes for most people from Omaha, but that's really a goal of mine, right? To get youth players out to watch our games, right? And see that there is the opportunity to play at the next level locally, right? They watch it on TV all the time, but it's nice for them to kind of see it in person, right? And as far as partnerships go, like, I mean, I'm completely open to that, right? I know, just have to kind of figure out timing wise. We are definitely a busy program. I mean, we're going 24 weeks throughout the year. 8 weeks in the fall with a lot of strength and conditioning, things like that, and then 16 weeks in the spring. So just finding time, like I said, like towards the end of fall is great for us. But I know, in the spring, it is going to be a little bit tougher for us. So I think just maybe figuring out a way to partner that. And we could also couple that with the Rebels, right? Which, we're doing indoor stuff, but it's a great opportunity. And I will kind of go into that after this real quick, if you don't mind. But it's a great opportunity for kids to kind of explore the indoor sport as well, which I think is a great way to get involved for them. But yeah, I would definitely be open. I'm sure Coach Jay would too, to doing that type of stuff. Like I said, I think it'd just be about scheduling, and I think there's a way that we could figure that out. It may just have to be during the off season from, youth lacrosse in the spring. So it may have to either be fall or try to figure some things out, rent some indoor space and do some stuff indoors in the winter. And that way, all of our players can be present, things like that. Cause like I said, we do have a lot of guys from out of state that go home over the summers and things like that. So, and we haven't done any camps up to this point. It is in my future plans, but as I said earlier, kind of coming into the program when it was kind of at its lowest point, I've been really more focused on us right now, and on building our program. And I think maybe at the latter half of this season or even early next season, I would definitely be open to something like that. And I'll throw my email in the chat for you if you want to reach out. That'd be fantastic. So no, we have an Elkhorn player, Gavin Bartling, on our team actually. So I'm sure he would be ecstatic about that as well.
Yeah, we would love, I think actually the timing for something like a clinic or something where you get kids on campus, if you have facilities, particularly indoor facilities, late fall and winter, we're always looking for space to get youth to try it before they commit to the spring season. So that timing actually might work really well.
Yeah, we definitely do have indoor space. So yeah, it's definitely, reach out to me with some more information on your end. I just put my email in the chat there, and yeah, I'd love to explore that more with you.
Is there a way you guys can have back-to-back games and maybe get the MGLL and the Heartland guys up there to maybe have a high school game, girls game and boys game before or after your games? That way you get you get a big group there all at the same time. You do the girls before, you do the boys after. That's been fairly successful across the board from my experience. And I just wondered, would that be a possibility?
Yeah. I do think that would be. We'd have to look. There are so many sports going on at Midland, I will tell you that. So it would definitely be, if there is a day where we do have only one game. I know our season does run a little bit earlier than the spring season for the high school leagues around here, I believe. I mean, we're starting, our first game is February 15th. So, and we wrap up like late April. So, but I mean, there's also a way where we could just, schedule a game on the turf out here. I mean, that's not outside the realm of possibility. I think the sooner you have a schedule for me, the sooner I could look at it, or if you have some weekends you'd like to look at our schedule. All of our games are posted right now that are scheduled. We only have 4 home games this spring. But we do have a couple of fall games at home, October 27th, November 3rd. And then Coach Jay, when are you having home games this fall? I can't remember.
Yeah, we'll have one home scrimmage on October 26th here.
Okay. So, I mean, there could be a possibility that if you wanted to do a fall scrimmage or something like that, you certainly could. Otherwise, we'd have to kind of look at those 4 dates because our schedule is already set for the upcoming spring. So it'd have to kind of work around whatever our schedule on the turf is out there. But I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. Like I said, as long as we get it scheduled basically as soon as possible, because like I said, there are tons of sports, vying for that field time. So yeah, and there could be a possibility of just scheduling it on a separate day and having our teams come out and support, things like that. So I would say, yeah, if you want to shoot me an email as well, please feel free. We can look into something like that for sure on either side, men's or women's.
Yeah, and I'll double check with like our bosses and stuff just to confirm if there's any like other things for um sports outside of Midland coming and like using it as like a neutral site and things, just to make sure that we have all the information from their side, so that way we can share that with you guys. So I'll make a note to make sure we do some research on that, so that way when you guys send us information, we can make sure we're all on the same page.
I want to just make sure I bring this up because we just started. So a little background about the Rebels. I'll try to keep it quick. But so indoor box lacrosse, we started as a semi-professional men's team, right? We're playing across the Midwest. Been doing that with the Rebels for the past 3 years. And then we had two teams. It's been going on like 6 years or something like that, right? So, but we started, we've really sat down. We have a board there. We sat down together and we really trying to open up the high school, boys, girls, U14, U12, adult developmental, and then adult experience type of drop-ins, and then leagues for the high school and U14, U12. We do only have right now, just because of the amount of girls playing, we just have high school girls leagues coming up, and but those are all indoor. Price top of my head, I think it's like $135 or something for the season. You get 8 games, you get a penny. I mean, we're really trying to put something together that not only just for the league sake, but to really start enforcing like, hey, get into box lacrosse at a young age too, right? We're trying, because it really helps develop stick skills like nothing else can, right? But so those start. I want to say the first session is October 3rd. It's either the 2nd or the 3rd. But we do have it on our Instagram, Omaha Rebels LC. And then also follow the Midland Instagram, Midland Lax if you want, and Lax. But so go there. All of our stuff's getting posted there. It's just a great opportunity during the winter when there's kind of downtime from lacrosse to keep the sticks hot, keep the stick skills, moving in the right direction, and, have some fun and compete during it. Right. And we have all of our Rebels guys come out, volunteer, kind of help coach a little bit here and there, especially the U12, U14. The high schoolers, we kind of just let them play a little bit, but they know what they're doing out there. So yeah, we're on the 2nd year of it. Last year was super successful. We're not trying to make any money off of this. We're just trying to put the money back into our program and try to make our semi-pro lives easier, and then make our youth leagues a little easier to pay for, field time and indoor space, things like that. So I encourage anybody watching this, if you know anybody at those age levels, and on the girls' side, it's more of a modified box, like we're playing indoors, but really they're just using field equipment. So it kind of just helps them sharpen those field skills. Whereas the boys are, full box gear, and I think, well, as close to full box gear as you can be. It's a little bit modified with the contact and, try to eliminate cross checks, things like that. But it's just a great opportunity, right? And we've really been pushing hard on it to, try to put all the money back in. We're going out to OLC event this Sunday to promote the Rebels and, just that winter league. I know we already have, we got quite a few people signed up, but, we'd love to have as many as possible just to make it as successful as it can be, and really have some nice even teams. I think last year teams had about 11 guys per team, which is pretty solid. But, we'd love to see those numbers go up. And I think, I do think once these guys and girls pick up a stick in the box, I think, they fall in love with it. It's a fun game. Like box lacrosse is a very fun game. So encourage anybody to, if you have a kid, if you have a friend who's playing, or, you're a coach, whatever it may be, just encourage your guys and gals to play throughout the year, keep the sticks sharp.
Yep. What ages for the boys? How young do you go?
Yep. So it depends honestly on experience level. Like we had some 10-year-olds playing up with the U12s. We want to make sure they have the right experience to where they're not, getting hurt out there. Right. Like, I mean, we want to make sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's U12, U14, high school boys and girls. So the U12 and like U14, if we have a 12-year-old who is very highly experienced, we'll probably put them up at the 14s. Yeah. We had a few of those last year, but yeah, I would need to talk to Kurt Carlson as well. He's and Ryan Grucock, they're both helping organize this as well. But I believe we'll take 10-year-olds. I think if you have them kind of reach out to our email, It's Omaha Rebels LC at gmail.com. I'll also put that in the chat. And if you had any other questions, we can kind of look into it deeper. But I do want to make sure.
Do players just sign up individually, or do you come with a team and a coach?
So they'll sign up individually, and we'll divide them up. And like I said, with the U12s, U14s, we will have people there coaching, people from the Rebels team coaching and reffing. And then as far as high school goes, we divide the teams up. We've kind of made it a point, because in the past we've run some leagues not affiliated with the Rebels, but that we just did, like a Miller North team, a Burke team, a Miller West, and we didn't really like how that turned out, right? Like we wanted to make sure these guys are kind of experiencing this with people from other teams, right? We want to kind of split this up so they're not playing with their high school team. I know, some coaches really, really want that, but as far as growing the sport goes for us, we thought it was in the best interest to do it that way, and really kind of, because we've seen pretty much all of these high school guys play as well. Not as much on the girls side, but we do, like I said, we split them up how we think it will adequately, serve the best games will happen. So we don't want, super lopsided teams. And so we also go based off, experience level. They'll have all that stuff to fill out and all that. So, and then, U12, U14, depending on the numbers we get, right, it'll be a little more, like, I think for the U12, we kind of just had to split teams. Like we had 2 or 3 last year. I can't recall exactly, but I think we did split those teams, and then they do have a coach. So, on the bench for them. So, it's, we're trying to make it as legitimate as possible. It does, it obviously comes with a ton of fees. So that's the only reason we charge, 100, like I said, I think it's like $135, but it's well worth it. I mean, you get 8 weeks, and you get some coaching, you kind of get to know, some of the Rebels guys, and, we're hoping to just kind of keep promoting that sport around here too. So yeah, I'm excited for year 2 of it. Like I said, we've got a pretty good size numbers so far, but yeah, really, really want to promote it on here and make it known that it is happening and it's starting soon. So we'll probably be posting something today that we're going to close up registrations, I think, like a little bit later in September. So yeah, as far as like the U12, I think was our lightest amount of signups last year. So, the more we can get there, the better it's going to be able to be run by us on the back end, because, I think there were a couple times when, and guy, like, they won't come, like some of them won't come every week, so it's like, we kind of have to, if we have a week where, only 18 guys show up, we just kind of have to split the teams up at that point, and we're just playing at that point, right? We want to have that U12 become that more of that league style, like the high school is, where they have team names, we got players of the game, we got, all this stuff. Like we want that for the U12. It's been hard to promote it for us to this point. Like we go to the OLC events, but maybe we're doing something wrong. I don't know, but yeah, we're really, really trying to get more U12 and U14. And it is just for boys right now, because we've had zero interest for girls there yet. We want to get it to the point where we're doing girls as well, but I don't think that's going to be possible for this year. But like I said, we're trying to expand that girls side of things too. I think we had about 25 high school girls sign up last year. So, I mean, even that's kind of light. So, we'd really appreciate your help on the back end, helping us promote that. And sending that out to people, and just kind of using your resources to kind of help us get some more guys in there and make it successful, and girls. If people do want to register, you can go to that website there, which is omaharebels.com. I will post that in here as well. You can check that out. And it just says Junior Rebels at the top in the search bar, or in the, search bar. Click down on there, and right now we have the high school boys, girls, and U14, I believe, for this like early fall and into winter, and then we'll have a second session for believe U12 men's developmental and men's experienced. So it's not all running at once, because there really is only one place to play in Omaha that's they've been supporting us, and want to give them a shout out off the wall. They've just been fantastic with us. And, I encourage, if anybody needs field rentals for the winter, give them a call. They're fantastic. Teresa and her whole family over there are fantastic people. And they've done nothing but support us for the past, 7 years. And so, yeah, we're I said, it's a field rental and space and timing thing. So that's why we have to do two separate kind of sessions. But yeah, it's worked out for us. And so, yeah, hopefully we'll get some more signups coming up.